Hello and welcome. Today I want to dive in to a topic that I also talked about in episode 13, which is visibility. And this is such an important topic, and it is so hard for most of the women that I work with. They feel they're being self-promotional. They don't like to brag. They don't want to talk about themselves, or they're scared to talk about themselves. So I get it. I fully get it, but it's super important, which is why I'm doing this second episode around this. And today's episode is going to be extremely pragmatic. It is going to give you all kinds of strategies and ways that you can build your visibility without feeling self-promotional. And I do want to remind you that creating visibility, it is your responsibility. There is no one else in your company sitting around thinking about how to highlight your work. You have to take ownership of that. If you are waiting for somebody to notice your contributions, you are giving away control of your career growth. And especially if you have just taken on a new role, this work is even more important because those first 90 days are so important to build your credibility, to build trust, to take ownership of your new role, and visibility is part of that. The good news is you don't have to brag, you don't have to be pushy. There are very smart, strategic ways that you can get noticed without feeling self-promotional. So let's start off with a story. How many times have you been in a meeting and everybody or the leader says, okay, let's go around the table and introduce ourselves. And it is like literally the most boring exercise ever. Because most of the time, we're sitting there going, okay, what do I say? What are other people saying? How much do I have to share, not share? We're totally in our head about what we're going to say or not say. And one, we're not listening to others and who they are. But secondly, it is a completely missed opportunity if you are not introducing yourself with impact, okay? And a lot of times, and I know I did it. I was guilty of this for a very long time. You introduce yourself. Maybe you say your title. Maybe you say whose team you're on. Maybe you say why you're there. But then once you're done, you sit there and you go, oh my gosh, what did I just say? Why did I say that? And it seems like what you said is so vanilla. And vanilla is a default solution. I'm asking you to be Rocky Road or strawberry and basil or sesame, but be something that has a little bit of spice and say something that people will remember you for. It's the same thing. If you are at a conference, in a coffee break, or in an elevator meeting somebody for the first time, the biggest service that you can do for yourself is to be prepared to introduce yourself. So instead of hesitating and underselling yourself, or even worse is saying, I'm so-and-so, I'm on their team, I want you to prepare a pitch, an elevator pitch about what you do and the impact that you have. So I'm going to give you an example. I lead strategic initiatives in supply chain management, helping our company reduce costs and improve efficiency. And right now I'm working on a project. It's saving 15% in operational expenses. Having that elevator pitch about yourself, what you do, and how you are making an impact, that is the first source of improving your visibility. Okay. A clear, confident introduction makes an impact. So that is a no-brainer. Please, if there's one thing that you take away from today, it is go do your elevator pitch. So I'm going to give you also, it's going to be a list but I'm going to go through it relatively quickly about things that you can do without feeling self-promotional. The first one is to speak up in a meeting, and speak up with a strategic insight or a thoughtful question. So force yourself to go into every single meeting telling yourself, I'm going to ask a question, but please do not sit quiet in a meeting. You can say something like, well, one trend I'm noticing in our industry is, and have we considered applying that to our strategy? Or you could say something like, this is something I've seen our competitors starting to do. I have ideas on how we could go after this same market segment and do it differently. So that shows that you're engaged and you're thinking ahead. Number 2, volunteer to present on a topic or share a project update. So for example, this is something I think that also team leaders, it's very easy for you to do because it also brings in your team, because so many of the women I coach are worried about their team and thinking about their team and the impact of their team. And so this is a perfect way also to build visibility for them and for you. So for example, your team just finished a successful project and you offered to present what you learned in the next department meeting. Okay, so that positions you as somebody who takes initiative and adds value. Maybe you helped a client save money. You could build a case study and highlight the teamwork that went into that. Number 3, you can offer to mentor or support a junior colleague or somebody that's new in the company. Okay. New hires, maybe they're struggling with stakeholder management or navigating. So just set up a monthly mentoring chat where you share advice, ask them what they need help on, and later that is going to, at some point in time, give back to you. Someday down the road, they will credit you for helping them succeed, just reinforcing your influence as a leader. Number 4, post a short, insightful LinkedIn update on something you learned in a conference or at an industry event. You could post something simple like, a key takeaway from today's summit was, and then you say what you think. The best leaders don't have all the answers. They ask best questions. What's the most impactful leadership advice you've received? Something like that is going to spark engagement and it showcases your thought leadership. And the stats, because I'm extremely present on LinkedIn. If you haven't, please come follow me there. I post almost daily. Of all the people on LinkedIn, only 4% are present. Only 4% post, give opinions. So doing that regularly is going to position you also as a thought leader. Number 5, within your company, join or contribute to a cross-functional initiative. Volunteer to be part of a task force. Maybe it's workplace culture improvements. For me, it was a topic on storytelling, which was an extremely important topic that my past company, we had a hard time cracking the nut. And it puts you into contact with other people maybe that you don't usually work with. So it expands your network and positions you as a team player beyond your direct role. Number 6 is engage with senior leaders by asking a relevant question in a town hall. I personally love town halls because I think it is a perfect place to get information and ask a burning question. Don't just sit there and listen, but ask. I'm going to give you 2 or 3 of my favorite questions that I always asked in a town hall. Number 1, how do you see our company differentiating itself in the market next year? Where do you see the industry in 3 to 5 years' time? And how is AI going to impact us? So asking a question like that to senior leadership puts you on the radar and it shows your strategic thinking. It is not asking questions that are meant to make a leader look bad, to trap them into something. You're generally interested in what the leadership, the company leadership, is thinking about the future. Okay, that is an amazing way to show that you care. Number 7, nominate yourself for a panel, a committee, or a speaking opportunity. So maybe your company is hosting a women in leadership panel and you reach out and say, I'd love to contribute. I recently led an initiative on inclusive hiring that might be relevant. And so again, you get to highlight something that you have done with your team. There was this amazing group of women in my last corporate job. And I'm sure some of you are listening. You know how much I loved you and how much I love you and all the impact that you had. And they were so passionate about women in leadership that they initiated bringing in women speakers into the company just to share their career path, their career growth. And that actually led us to implementing a mentoring program. Number 8, share your work's impact in a team email or newsletter. So one thing that I loved to do is send out a Friday email to my entire team talking about accomplishments of different people and copying my boss. And when you do something like that, first of all, it puts your team front and center. It talks about your successes. It shows that you are moving the needle and you're just copying your boss for information. Okay. You should not be copying your boss on all of your emails, but when you can highlight a success, that is the perfect time to do it. It's just keeping company leadership informed of how you're contributing. All right, number 9, you can position yourself as a go-to resource in your area of expertise. So for example, a colleague is struggling with analytics, you can help break down the data. And so pretty soon people are going to start coming to you for that specific question. And that's going to build your reputation organically. And the last piece of way to build your visibility is just attend an industry event and actively listen and actively engage in discussion. Just participate. I loved, go up to one of the speakers. I love the panel. And one point that stood out was, and you give your opinion, what are your thoughts? That will lead to a meaningful conversation and expand your network. So if you want to deep dive into this topic even more, I am organizing on March 28th, a workshop, Elevate Your Presence, Strategic Visibility and Networking. We are going to work on the visibility pyramid framework. So I'm going to give you a framework. It is a proven 3-step method to establish your presence. I am going to give you a 4C networking strategy. We're going to build a 30-day action plan for you. I would love to have you there. There are 2 spots left. It is going to be very interactive. So I will, at the time of recording, there was 2 spots left. So I will link that in the show notes. I hope to see you there. It is going to be amazing. And that's what I've got for you today, ladies and gentlemen. We will speak soon. Take care.